Okay, so today we're talking to Eyitemi Popo. She's an entrepreneur who invests in products, services, and ecosystems that help women thrive.
Nice.
So whether through media, technology, or tourism, her focus is on creating sustainable growth for women-focused initiatives, especially in Africa. She runs Ayiba Media, which seeks to build a bridge between Africa's past and future in a way that connects Africans in the diaspora to those on the continent.
Nice.
She's also the founder of Girls Trip Tours, a transformative travel experience, hosting trips to various African destinations with the goal of empowering future female leaders through mentorship while taking in the sights and dining around town with high-profile businessmen and local industry leaders. Yeah, I need to go on this.
Hey, like, you know what's like, whenever I hear something, it's like, it's just for me, I'm like, but I would love to go on this story. I know.
But alongside running both of those businesses, she also works in deep tech VC as an entrepreneur in residence. It's an honor to have you with us today, Temi. How are you?
Thank you so much. That sounds like a lot of stuff. I forget sometimes.
You're the one doing it.
Yeah, it was all you. Like, we like ran through a lot, and then it was like, oh, and then there's this as well. It's like, whoa, okay, cool. So today we're going to chop, chat, chill. We're gonna kind of talk about the chop, where we're gonna talk about some things that kind of like nourish you, and then we're gonna chat. And we know we've got a special topic that you wanted to discuss today, and then we're gonna just chill. You know, talk about some culture, talk about travel, some music, and just kick back and relax. So, chop. Yeah. Yes, let's chop.
Okay, so if you were cooking for one of your heroes, who would you cook for? What would you cook for them, and why?
So I thought about this a lot. I don't really have like pop culture heroes. So it would literally be my grandmother.
Nice.
And I would make her Egusi soup because that is like the Nigerian soup that I can make the best.
Nice.
And her favorite cuisine is Nigerian, no matter what. So.
And what is it about your grandmother that makes her a hero for you?
So my grandmother was quite the pioneer. She was born in the 1920s, ended up going to St. Andrews University in Scotland, and got a master's degree. She came back to Nigeria and started working for the Ministry of Education, and actually was the first woman to get to the highest level of the Nigerian Ministry of Education, and basically created the Nigerian education system as we have it today. She was also the first Nigerian woman to become a permanent UN delegate at the UNESCO headquarters in Paris. And she's just done a lot of like really cool, like forward-leading things. And so when I look at my life and the aspirations I had growing up, I didn't see a lot of limitations that I now realize a lot of people have, because I have this grandmother that was very well educated, well traveled. She's been to like 40-something countries. She was a diplomat. She had 7 children, but still, she had the whole family thing, but then she had this amazing career and she didn't really have to trade off. It was definitely a lot of hard work, but she made it all possible and made it look effortless. And so she's my hero for that.
Wow.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing her story with us.
I actually wanted to know a bit more about the Egusi. Could we get some money? Is it my favorite? But like, is there meat in it? Are you going for meat in there? And also,
yeah, I do.
What are you eating it with?
Okay, it's always pounded yam.
Okay.
To me, that's the best. Come on, that's the best fufu.
I don't want to fight. We're coming just to relax. It's a nice calm day. It's okay. A difference of opinion is fine. It's okay. I'll bring my own when I come to eat. It's okay.
That's good. Yeah.
Did you say Nigerian food is your favorite food?
It's my grandma's favorite food.
Oh, your grandma's favorite food.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. So I just want to know, what is your soul food?
My soul food, any rice dish, honestly, regardless of the cuisine. So if I go Asian, then it's a really nice fried rice. Go to Senegal, I love bibiap. And then Nigeria, jollof rice. Yeah.
Nice.
When you said rice, I was happy. I love rice. In the house, I like rice. When you see rice, you're like, it's okay.
I've tried to give it up so many times.
Don't hurt yourself.
Yeah, right?
Yeah. I just don't see why you would though. Like, it's like, yeah, it's also just so super like versatile. Like,
that's the
you
thing.
know, yeah, fantastic.
Yeah. I used to try and replace it with couscous, but it doesn't hit the same.
No, it's not the same.
Yeah.
It's not the same. It's not the
Yeah.
same.
I think you can make, like, say if you're using a different grain, other grains can make good other dishes. That's fine. But then there needs to be a place for rice. No, but you know, I don't think we should be trying to substitute. I think we just have added to complement, but there's always a place for rice. Anyway, that's let me not start my rice ministry today. It's okay. Get into the chat.
Oh yes. So yeah, you wanted to speak about global citizenship with a Nigerian passport. You've lived in 6 countries, started a travel business with a Nigerian passport, which, you know, at times is not necessarily the easiest to like travel with. So how have you gone about doing that?
So I guess for me, it started from growing up. I mean, I grew up in New York City. So my first memories of life are actually outside of Nigeria. But I always had this Nigerian passport, and no matter where we lived and how connected I felt to that place, I was never allowed to believe otherwise by my mom, that you're Nigerian, we can live wherever, but always remember that you're Nigerian. And so growing up, like, she taught me how to apply for visas and stuff. I know a lot of kids, their parents would just like do it for them. And so that kind of allows you to forget, or just like exist without that consciousness that because of where you come from, like, you actually literally need permission to enter almost every country. Like, I've traveled to 28 countries so far, and I've only traveled visa free once, and that was to Turks and Caicos. Right? Even Bahamas, I needed a visa for. And so because of that, I was able to launch a travel company because I knew the logistics of travel. It's been so ingrained in me from a very young age. And so the sad part about launching a travel company in Africa as an African and still needing visas to almost every place you visit, like, the irony isn't lost on me. And so I kind of did it as a rebellious act, first as a woman, to say, you know, people always say women shouldn't travel alone. Like, you hear it from family a lot of times when you want to explore, they're like, oh, but who are you going with? And so I wanted to normalize women traveling alone. And a way to do that was actually to bring many women traveling alone and put them in a group where they felt safe. And then I also wanted to normalize Africans traveling on African passports, not just abroad, but even within the continent. Because I know too many Africans that have explored so much of the world, but really haven't even explored their own region of Africa. You know?
I want to get into that a bit more, but just before, I'm curious, where were you born, and where are these other 6 countries that you've lived? Just a bit to kind of like map you a bit. That'd be interesting.
So I was born in Nigeria, and then we moved to Manhattan, New York when I was 3 years old. And so I grew up in the city. When I was 10, my mom decided to move back to Nigeria, but we actually ended up moving to the Republic of Benin. So she thought that would be an easier transition than taking us straight back to Lagos, because she needed a year to kind of round up stuff in New York before joining us. And so I lived with her sister in the Republic of Benin, which is a French-speaking country. So I had to just like learn French on the fly.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And then I moved back to Nigeria, and then we're all together. I did secondary school there, and then I moved back to the States for university, and I studied abroad in France. And then on my gap year, actually between high school and college, I spent like 6 months in the UK, because I actually planned on going to college in the UK, and then I ended up going back to the States, and now I live in Canada.
Okay.
Yeah.
A little.
Yeah. I've been searching for a home for a long time because I didn't grow up in Nigeria. When we moved back, I enjoyed it, but it still didn't feel like home. And then the US is really messed up with like their whole, like the racism there is a lot to deal with. And so I didn't feel like I wanted to settle there or have a family there, especially after Trayvon Martin, Tamir Rice, Sandra Bland, the list goes on. It was just like, this isn't for me either. I know Canada isn't perfect, but it's kind of where I found home so far.
Mm. And on this, like, talking about home, what does it mean for you when you say to be like a global citizen?
So for me, I feel like a global citizen because I've lived in so many different places, but not just as was stop, on my journey, but I've actually built a community in these different places. And so when I traveled back, like I recently went back to Paris, for example, with my boyfriend, and it was just so interesting for him to see, like, I actually have an entire community there. I have friends there, I have connections there. And so that's what it means for me to be a global citizen. Even to places I haven't been, just by the internet, the work that I do with Ayiba, I've been able to meet people from so many different parts of the world and actually build relationships that people invite you to their home country and you can actually go visit and feel like a local. So that's what global citizenship is for me, that like I can travel to different places and feel like a local just because of the connections that I have there.
Yeah, it's interesting how you talked about meeting people or kind of work online. Obviously you work in like deep tech, so I just wanted to understand a bit more about like how maybe technology has enabled you to be a global citizen or kind of like participate in global conversations, and how it is enabling those conversations like more generally.
So I think for me, because I started the magazine like straight out of school, that's really the first time I started using technology to not just build a community, but build a business. And so at the height of Ayiba's team size, we were 20 people living across 4 continents, writing about Africa from different perspectives, whether it was the Nigerian living in Vietnam or the white South African, or I had a writer from Brazil, a Black Brazilian. So it was all these different perspectives of Africa and the diaspora coming together from all over the world. And so that was the first time I managed a virtual team. Fast forward to now, I feel like I've used technology and I've leveraged it in so many different ways to grow my businesses. And I actually studied computer science for 3 years in undergrad. And so I wanted to go back to that, because when I first started with computer science, I was the only Black person in the room, in every room I went to. And that dissuaded me from staying on that trajectory. And so I felt like I've used technology in really creative ways, but why was I afraid of like the core of actually building something on my own? And so my venture into deep tech recently is because I want to not just leverage technology or use it, but I want to be a part of building it and scaling a truly tech company.
Just to understand, like you mentioned, like a Nigerian living in Vietnam, and then I'm not sure where the heritage of the girl in Brazil, and then I imagine you in like the States, and there were people all that. How did you even find everybody, and also like how did you even like keep like track of like, I mean, like in terms of like time zones and stuff like that? It's like it's hard enough, us both being in London trying to like connect and everything like that. So just interesting.
Yeah, that was really tough, especially the time zones. People would show up for meetings at the wrong time all the time. But they found me. So with Ayiba, I guess even at like in 2012, 2013, there were very few African publications that were created by Africans dedicated to telling our stories. I think there are a lot more now. And so we always had popularity like across the world rather. It wasn't just, because I created the magazine to connect Africa and the diaspora, and in my head, diaspora was just the US. But then we started seeing readers from all over the world, and that really showed me how widespread the diaspora was. So actually all the people that joined my team at the time applied for an internship, which we promoted on the website. So they came to us in a sense. And managing the team was really difficult, but I had a really strong core team, and we're all based in the East Coast of the US. And so we had to create really, really easy to follow processes for the team in terms of like how to go about getting interviews, how to edit. It was a huge, we had a very large process map, but we just needed to make the process really transparent so everybody could kind of work on their own. And then we would have like bi-weekly meetings. And yes, choosing the time for the meeting was very difficult.
Yeah.
I just wanted to go back to something you said sort of like very early on about essentially encouraging Africans to travel like within the continent. And I know it's something Emeka and I have spoken about a lot. I just wanted you to maybe like just expand some more on that and why you think it matters and how to encourage people to do so.
So it matters for the same reason, I guess, I started Ayiba, because I know there are a lot of misconceptions that we as Africans have about each other. So a lot of people will tell you a million things about Nigerians. And then you ask, oh, have you been to Lagos? No. So these are just stories they get somewhere and then they have it fixed that Nigeria is one way or Nigerians are all one way. And so I think it's really important to read about Africa, about the history of different places. Like we were all colonized by different types of people with different agendas. And there's a reason for why Africa is the way it is today. The divide and conquer mentality remains. And we do a disservice to ourselves when we have the ability to connect through the internet and through all these mediums today, and we're not doing that, you know? And so that's why it's important for us to travel, because that is the best teacher. Like, I can ask you to read as much as you want, but just going to the place, meeting with locals, just going to museums, seeing the beauty of different African countries, right, really expands your mind. Because I feel like all Africans think their country is the best. And maybe, but you actually have to travel to other countries to verify that.
Cool. Thank you. Should we chill a little bit?
Yeah, let's chill. So I was still thinking on that. I was like, you're having travel flashback memories.
I wanted to ask about the travel.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
So, yeah.
Go on then, go, because we want to stick on the travel theme.
Okay, cool. So obviously you've been to, well, I'm going to ask 2 questions actually. Yeah. So yeah, I'm going to ask.
All right, go on.
I have to. You know what I mean? It's the travels here.
Yeah.
Right? So you've been to like 28 countries. In fact, it might be 28 countries.
Wait, 3 questions?
Yeah, sorry. So one's a really quick one. I just want to know, how much of that is like in with African countries. So that's a short one, very quick one. The question 2 was, what was your favorite country that you've been to? And then if you could travel to any city in the world right now, where would it be and why? That's the real biggie.
Okay, so just to recap, of the 28 countries that you've been to, which is a lot, by the way, how many of them have been in Africa and how many of them outside? Then was it of the countries you've been to, which was your favorite? Which was your favorite? And then of the countries if you could go to any city in the world right now, where would it be and why?
Thank you for something.
Okay. So it's 5 have been in Africa. So I just started traveling Africa when I created Girls Trip. Before that, I'd only been to, actually it's more than that. I'm discrediting myself. I've been to Nigeria, obviously, Republic of Benin, where I lived, Togo, and Ghana. So I had only been to those 4 growing up. Because we used to do trips across the borders. Very hectic, don't do it, fly. Then when I started Girls Trip, now I've added South Africa, Kenya, and Morocco. So that's 8. Okay, so I've been to 8 in Africa.
Yeah. Cool. And then of the 28 countries you've been to, what's been your favorite?
Honestly, the Republic of Benin is one of my favorite countries in the world. It is a very small country, French speaking, but they're just so chill there. It's great food, great music, beautiful beaches. If I could live in any African country, it would probably be the Republic of Benin. Yeah.
Okay. Nice. You're now thinking, okay, my travel plans.
Well, 100%, but also this is now, since we kind of started having this in this Chuku's chat series, you're the 2nd person who's mentioned about the Republic of Benin, and someone else was talking about the art and stuff. So it's like, I might need to really up this in a list of travel plans. You know what I mean? So the last biggie one. Done.
Yeah. If you could travel to, I feel like I'm on the pressure to get it right.
Sorry.
If you could travel to any city in the world today, where would it be and why?
So So it'd be somewhere I haven't been, which is Dakar, Senegal. Everyone has good things to say about Dakar.
No, but this is too odd, because the same person that mentioned Benin now said they too want to go to Dakar. And then I mentioned that I've been, and we can go.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll go. Yeah. I'll go. You can come as well.
Oh, thank you. No. Hang on. I've been planning. I've wanted to go since, when was it? It was being university, so I think it was around 2010. And there was a friend who was like a Senegalese friend, and then they started telling me about Senegal, and I started looking in, and I saw these like pink lakes, and I was just like, yo, this place, it seems so dope. And I think also about that diaspora point you mentioned, right? Like growing up in the UK, the African diaspora was Nigerian, Ghana. You know, like it was, you know, British speaking, those two, you know, primarily British speaking African countries. And obviously, as you grow up, you meet a lot more people, you kind of start to hear about so much more of like African countries, and just, you know, diasporas more generally. So yeah, it really piqued my interest. I definitely would like to visit. I'm kind of very jealous. You didn't invite me on a trip, did you?
No, but to Temi's point, I went on a solo trip when I went. And actually, as you said, I remember everyone being like, "You're going by yourself.
Yeah.
What's gonna happen to you? Like, how are you gonna be? How are you gonna?" And you know, it was so fine. Like, I'm such an advocate for people taking solo trips. I just wanted to know though, why Dakar for you? Why is that the city you'd love to go to?
Because honestly, I'm still searching for home in some ways. Like, the more things happen in the Western world, the more I just realize like I need to find my home in Africa. And I know it's not Nigeria. I love my country, but I know that's not my home. And so part of launching Girls Trip is so that I have the opportunity to travel to other African countries and see what felt like home. And I have a feeling it might be Dakar.
Is your French still strong?
Yeah, I still speak French. So right now I'm in Montreal. So I'm in French Canada.
I really worried for a second that Temi was going to swap to French and like, and that's how the interview was going to go. And I was like, no, let's keep it English, please. Just for today, now's not the time to test my French.
Yeah, French was a long time ago.
Yeah, I got the A level, but yeah, rusty. If you could be in any girl band or a solo artist, who would you be and why?
I think I'd want to be in a girl band, actually. Spice Girls.
Oh,
I just have to do it for the 90s girl in me. Yeah, Spice Girls.
Are you Eyitemi in Spice Girls, or are you one of the Spice Girls?
Yeah, I think I'd be my own Spice Girl.
Okay, nice.
What Spice? Like Suya Spice?
Yeah, right?
No, but they didn't have
So my boyfriend is Jamaican, and yesterday I made Suya for him, and he was like, I think this actually tops jerk. And that was like a revelation for me, that I could convert a Jamaican from jerk spice to Suya Spice.
Nice,
yeah.
Nice.
Okay, so we've added the 6th Spice Girl, Suya Spice.
Yeah.
I literally want to see like like an album
a reunion and have like a little Afrobeats flavor, like Spice. I'm not in music.
Remix.
Cool. So we just got like one more question before we wrap up, if you want to do the honors.
Okay. What is your life mantra?
I don't have one. So it's not going to be a mantra because I haven't really thought about it in a way that makes it nice and smooth, but I would just say really like to open yourself up to experiences, because that's what I've done my whole life. And that's why, like, when you started at the top, you had so much to say about what I've done, because I've just really like opened myself up to different opportunities and experiences, whether it's through travel or through my work. I kind of let the world lead me. Maybe that's the mantra.
Yeah, let the world lead you. I like that. That's an album. It's a song. my song. I can hear, like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to embarrass myself with singing, but I can hear Let the World Lead You.
Yeah, literally. I want to see you singing that song with the Spice Girls in the background.
And then you know that
and you
second
just
band,
lead
the second like assistant, what do they call them? Backup singers going like.
Mm.
I said that those little short. Yeah, cool. We can do that. Get that popping. Cool.
Temi, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure. Yeah, I loved hearing about your experiences. I think you've inspired us both to book some more flights when we can.
I know.
And I think we've learned a lot from you today.
Yeah, so. Definitely putting Benin high on my travel list.
Do that.
That's for sure.
Okay. Take care.
Speak to you soon. Bye.
Bye.